backward, never. Them they pray make we run down, never, 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 never. I'ma get that low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move they never know. They never know. Money go check low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move they never know. They never know. Go too rough, so you know, girl, I be feeling this love. Even when I'm down, you wanna waiting this up. It's not blessing, I'ma not be luck. Baby, nobody feel there like you. I said nobody feel make me feel the way you do. I'ma get that low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. Money go check low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. They never know. They never know. My lady, you know me, no fi give up on you never. Wanna be with you forever, 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 forever. Oh baby, where we they go? Now forward and far, backward never. Them they pray make we run down, never, 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 never. I'ma get that low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. Money go check low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. They never know. They never know. Without you, baby, the journey go too rough. So you know, girl, I be feeling this love. Even when I'm down, you wanna waiting this up. It's not blessing, I'ma not be luck. Baby, nobody feel there like you. I said nobody feel make me feel the way you do. I'ma get that low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. Money go check low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. They never know. They never know.
There we go. Let's go, everybody. Hi, thank you for tuning in. It's Thursday evening here in Germany, 9 p.m. And we're back for another episode of the Hohner live stream here on the Hohner YouTube channel. Hope you're doing well. let us know from where you're tuning in. We can already see some people in the chat from Connecticut, from Jared's hometown of Cleveland, Ohio.
That's right.
Hello from Ohio. Hey there, James, down here in Dayton. Okay. Some viewers from Germany, Poland. Nice.
That's great.
Yeah, excited about today's guest, because this is the first time we're talking to each other, right?
Yeah, this is the first time. I've known of you for a long time, so it's interesting to get to meet you and talk to you face to face.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah, I mean, the beautiful thing is like everybody just covers themselves in the harmonica community online and on Instagram and stuff. So, yeah.
I know you.
So everybody in the chat, please welcome with me Jared Goldweber. Thank you for joining. And yeah,
Absolutely.
Where are you located right now?
I'm located in Cleveland, Ohio in the United States. So that's where I'm at. Rock and roll capital.
Oh yeah, I see. Was that the first style of music you really enjoyed, or was that something else?
So I'm a mixed bag of nuts, because I had two parents that really loved like 70s, 80s rock, and that was like a lot of my background.
Okay.
Later on, I started getting into the blues stuff, but I was always like a really rock and roll guy at heart. That's always really what I leaned into. Mostly.
I see, yeah. Because I heard like also a lot of distorted harmonica in your recent online videos and stuff.
Oh yeah, I've been trying to experiment. I feel like that I like the traditional blues harmonica sound, but I always kind of try to push it a little bit more. And with these videos I've been posting online, I don't want to do the blues harmonica thing. And I love the blues harmonica thing. Don't get me wrong, but I love doing the certain style that I'm starting to learn, and it's just really incredible to like really get into it.
True, yeah. So, I mean, harmonica is still the perfect instrument for that, but was it actually the first instrument you started out with, or did you try other stuff before?
So I have a hand deformity, so I have a hard time finding instruments. So my first instrument was trumpet, because I'm like, oh, it only has 3 valves and I only have 3 fingers, and it kind of worked out. I tried, and I was like a big like Herb Alpert fan, so I listened to like Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass Band like constantly, and I realized that it's a lot of work and it wasn't necessarily my vibe, and so I fell away from that and tried guitar. And that didn't work out, and eventually harmonica literally landed in my lap, and that's just how it started. So that was the progression, so to say.
I see. So was it a Hohner harmonica from the beginning on?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
It was a company called Buckeye Harmonica, and it was this cheap little I don't even know what it was called. It's somewhere floating around the house still, but that was the first one. But the second one was definitely a Hohner harmonica. I was taught by a guy named Wallace Coleman, who is a local legend, and he played with Robert Lockwood Jr., so who's like son of Robert Johnson, king of the blues. And so I learned from Wallace, and Wallace played a lot of Hohner stuff, and that's where I kind of really got started with my Hohner journey.
Yeah. I mean, harmonica is kind of special, right? Like, how do you feel about this? Do you think it's necessary as a harmonica player to have a teacher or a mentor? Because, like, in so many other paths, like, it's kind of necessary. But harmonica feels like, oh yeah, there are some people who could pull it off on their own and with online lessons and without being able to read music and stuff like that, you know?
That's a hard one, because I'm a mix of both. I had like Wallace as, I would say, more of a mentor than a teacher.
Yeah.
I didn't listen to a lot of harmonica players, especially early, because I listened to a lot of guitar players, and a big inspiration of mine is Pete Fountain. He's a Dixieland clarinet player, and I've taken a lot of stuff from him. And when it came to harmonica players, it was really Jason Ritchie and Adam Gusso. And
oh yeah,
if you consider YouTube teachers, then absolutely. I've learned so much from those two. If it wasn't for those two, I really wouldn't be a harmonica player. So lots of scouring on the internet for 3 hours a day of just grinding videos and sitting down in front of a computer and just hoping that you're getting the lick right and recording yourself over and over again. So
True. That was kind of the golden age of harmonica YouTube, I feel like.
it was. I know, and there wasn't much out there other than them at the current. That was, how do I say it? That was professional information.
Yeah.
Because it's like, where did you? And that's when like the Overblow was like an enigma, and like all these people were trying to learn it, and it was kind of like the golden age of YouTube harmonica. I can kind of consider that. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Like for me, it was too. Like I was just like looking up all these most recent videos. Like even if it was like the worst quality ever, like from some guy in the audience, like filming a Jason Ritchie gig.
I know, a shaky camera that's like
Exactly.
that's barely capturing the image, but you got the audio, and that's what counts.
Yeah.
Who did you listen to? Who were like your inspirations early on?
I mean, it was on YouTube. It really was Jason, and some of the stuff Alex Packlin did.
Oh yeah.
And
that's a good one.
And Carlos, but he didn't do too much of the YouTube stuff. That was really like checking out his albums and transcribing them. Yeah.
Well, and his solos are so complex and so cool. I love listening to Carlos's stuff.
Yeah.
So he always had a really cool vibe, and the Howard Levy videos that would blow my brain, and I would try to.
Yeah, that
pick
was
up
too
as
much for
as I
me at that
possibly
time.
could. Yeah, I get it. I like listen to. There's like a video that's floating around, and you've probably seen it. He's playing like Jingle Bells with like he has this.
Oh yeah, exactly.
This silver bullet microphone, and he's playing Jingle Bells, and it starts out normal, and then it just progresses into like the craziest runs that you've ever heard on harmonica, and like 13-year-old me was like, why is this so hard?
Man, funny thing is, I just recorded that arrangement
Did you really?
of the song. Yeah, because we're putting out a Christmas album later this month.
Oh, right.
And we wanted to play Jingle Bells, but obviously you got to make up like a new kind of version of it.
Yeah.
Especially because we're like releasing in more of a classical context or jazz context. And we basically just recorded his arrangement, like from that very video.
That video is incredible. That is probably one of my favorite Howard videos of all time.
Yeah, and not too many people know about that one.
Yeah, no, it's a very weirdly hidden one, but I saw it, and I remember like 13-year-old me looking at it and just going, oh, I got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, and I'm like still practicing some of these fast phrases again and again and again, because like we're doing some promotion for the album now too, and we got to play this on radio and TV, and I hope I get the licks right,
No, I get you. And that's the part that no one sees, is you sitting in the room, just like cursing at yourself, trying to get like the same like 13-note run. And it's just you over and over and over and over again. So like those 60-second YouTube clips or TikTok clips, I know how much effort goes into those, Konstantin. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Oh, yeah. That's true. So we're possibly basically the same age, right? Could that be true?
Well, how old
I'm
are
28
you?
now.
I'm 28 too.
Yeah.
So look at that.
So it all makes sense, the whole YouTube thing. Yeah. We saw the same stuff.
And how old were you when you started? You were 12, right?
13.
13. I was 12 to 13 as well. So it's interesting to see like the different progressions between different players. I love seeing that stuff.
Yeah. So did you also have like any other musical influences on your way that didn't have to do with harmonica at all? Like, with the biggest impact outside
like
of
as an
harmonica
artist?
world? Yeah, as
or
an
as
artist.
in like, that's a hard one. I'm a huge, my dad and I are huge Ozzy Osbourne fans. So
Okay.
I love listening to like Randy Rhoads, and that kind of stuff is like kind of my vibe. But I think when it comes to non-harmonica artists, that's a really hard. Peter Fountain, which I think is a great example of someone I've taken so many things from. There's a local jam band that I've been following. They do a jam on Thursday nights. That's kind of where I got my lessons of how to play out in front of others. And they're called the Bad Boys of Blues, and they've been in Cleveland area for like 30 years. And they're incredible. And every week on a Thursday night, no matter what time it was, I would go out and go to their jam. And I would try, because I would learn all these lessons, about music and how to play in front of people and how to direct a band and all these different things. And I think I learned a lot from them because they are incredible. Every single one of them is like Juilliard-esque, played in like Air Force band, like jazz bands, like really, really, really know their stuff. So I think that would be my bigger inspiration. But when it comes to professional artists, I think it comes from a lot of those rock guitar players, Stevie Ray Vaughan as well, and Jimi Hendrix and stuff like that.
Okay, I see. James Mooney asks, what about Dennis Grunling?
Oh, Dennis is a monster player. And every time I see him, he is like the goofiest guy. Like, he's such a weird, goofy guy. And I love Dennis. And he's so big in the harmonica community that you can't not look at him, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I remember, I think I told this before, but one of my first teachers, Ben Brauman from the Netherlands, like once he just gave me a DVD as a present, like with harmonica music, hours and hours of harmonica music, and like the first song was some Dennis Grunling and Jump Time kind of thing, a low tuned harmonica and this beautiful warm sound, you know, up tempo kind of vibe.
I think like him and Joe Falisco were like the first people I really saw utilizing a low tuned harmonica to the way it can be.
Yeah,
you know, because there's people that use it but not utilize it to like interesting ways, you know, like you can chug and do train rhythms on it, but like doing like intricate stuff on those is just sounds so cool.
Yeah,
so cool.
I just got a low G. That's the lowest I ever got. Yeah, like before I played a low B flat on one of my songs because I needed that to kind of like play a bass line. But I'm happy I got like an even lower one now just to breathe and stuff because it feels so good.
Well, and those reeds are so dense and you can feel that when you're playing. It's such a weird feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that before in a video, but...
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's awesome.
So that's a whole lot of fun. And we had like quite a few streams here talking about harmonica and health. And like low-tuned harmonicas also played a role there. And yeah.
Well,
I want to incorporate more breathing into low-tuned harmonicas in my life, you know?
Oh, for sure. And like breathing, just like breathing in and out on that, and doing bends is like a nightmare, especially on like those really low harmonicas. You have to have lungs of iron. Like that is not a joke at all. So I love low tuned harps. I don't use them enough. I did Muse by Radiohead on a song, and I did. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I did. What's the song called? But it has this really cool line, and I kept trying to do it on these higher harps, and I'm like, it doesn't have that oomph to it. But it's in fifth, and I was like, well, what if I try it on a low C? Have it with me? Me fumbling around my harmonica case on the floor. All right. And I couldn't get it to ring out on anything else other than that low harp. And if I didn't have it, it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So, really cool stuff.
Yeah, low C is really good.
Just looking at the chat. I love all the people saying hello and where they're from. It's so cool to see people from all over. That's one of the things I love about live streaming is all the people that necessarily aren't from your hometown and just like seeing all the different comments. I just love it.
Yeah. So you also started performing pretty early on then too, right?
Yeah, so I started.
What was like the first time of you stepping on stage with the harmonica, and how did that feel?
So this is funny. So coming back to Wallace Coleman, so I was in a restaurant, and a friend of my mom's kind of came up to her, and she was explaining that I was learning harmonica, and she goes, "Oh, you need to meet Wallace Coleman." And she goes, "He's playing at a coffee shop in town. You need to go." And I'm like, "All right." So my mom and I went to this coffee shop, and I ordered a hot chocolate, and his whole band was there. And keep in mind, this is the same band that used to play with Robert. So this is a very local Cleveland, really well-known band. And he goes, we have a young harmonica player in the audience. Why does he come up and blow a few notes with us? And I was petrified because I've been only playing 5 weeks. And I was so terrified about getting on stage. And I didn't realize how big of a legend Wallace was at the time. But I've never played with adults. That was the big shift for me. And I remember I played it was like a blues shuffle. And he got done. He's like, he goes, that's pretty good, son. How long you been playing? I'm like, 5 weeks. And he's like, oh, okay. So Wallace is still an amazing person in my life, and used to have jam nights at my house because I was so young. I couldn't get in the bars. So he would bring the band to the house, and we would have house parties at my house. So, which was really cool. He's been an incredible friend at this point, and I'm just extremely lucky to have someone like that, you know?
But that's very early on, just after a few weeks. Like, I'm trying to think, I mean, it took me a few months, I think.
Yeah.
But I was like super, yeah.
What was the first thing you remember learning on harmonica?
Simple melodies. There's this online video up there of my first performance, actually. That's like after 9 months of playing.
Okay.
Just playing You Raise Me Up, you know?
That's crazy.
But it was like, I had a friend, we started out together practicing. So we played it as a duo kind of thing, like in unison.
That's cool.
And there was like the 350th birthday of my school or something. Big event, you know, like 500 people in the audience. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
And then like never having been on stage before. That's crazy.
Yeah, I can only imagine. That would be and overwhelming as well, you know.
Like first gig in front of 500 people, and then like also like an audience where like people kind of know you, or like some people just have know you and heard about you, and that's the
You're
weird
like, here's this new
part.
talent I know. Here,
Yeah.
let me show off to the school of 500 people that also attended this. Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah, interesting.
I know, it was funny. I found a video. I had this really awful camcorder, which I have in front of me. I don't know why this is on my desk, but it's going to be. This is like late 2000s galore. So my dad didn't want me having a real camcorder, so he bought me this. And I remember I found my very first harmonica video ever, like on that camcorder, and I didn't know where it went. And I'm like, oh, it's lost to the test of time. And my mom moved, and she's like, I found your camcorder. Do you want it? I'm like, yes, 100%. And it was in a file that Google didn't know, and I had to like unencrypt it. It's so blocky, and it's amazing. It's hilarious just to see like the comparison from like then to now.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
How early did you start to upload stuff online then and on YouTube?
Good question. I didn't really start uploading anything until probably when I was like 16, 17.
Okay.
Because unless there might be a video floating around there that might be earlier than that, but when it came to me uploading stuff from my own sanity, it was that. So I used to go to the jams and have someone, here, can you hold my camera while I like go on stage for a little bit? And so it's interesting to see those videos now, you know. So very early learning overblows and stuff like that. So it's like me stumbling and finding my way through a couple of things at that point.
And how about like other platforms besides YouTube? Because for me, there was like a German online harmonica forum. Like, did you have like other places to exchange? It's still there. It's called harpforum.de or whatever.
So it's like, I love the generic name. It's like I went on Harp Tabs recently just for the hell of it, and it's like the same website it's been since like it was created.
Oh, that's true.
It's awesome. It looks exactly the same,
and it's still full of mistakes.
Oh, full of mistakes. I don't think I really uploaded anything other than YouTube, because then I would share it on Facebook. That was the thing. You went on YouTube, I uploaded the video, and then I would share it on Facebook to all the weird harmonica communities on there.
Yeah.
And I would do that. That was like the way I would do it. And then I would like browse modernbluesharmonica.com, because that was the one that I knew that was very popular at the time.
Right. Yeah. I mean, things have changed, kind of. I think forums
A little bit
aren't the thing anymore, you know?
You know, it's interesting because I love the progression of what it's done. I've seen so many young players coming up, and like, you understand this. When you're of that age, you don't really have anyone of your age to look at. You know, there's not many harmonica players. Like, one, two, I feel like that when it comes to people our age, it was a very different scenario. When you met somebody, it was like, oh my God, we're going to be best friends. At least from my end.
Yeah.
There's another harmonica player in my area named Jake Friel. And so we heard of each other, and he lives like an hour away from me. And so every now and again, we would hear of each other, and we met each other at Spa. My very first Spa, we met each other, which was a really cool experience. So I don't know, that harmonica community has evolved so well, and there's so many resources, and I'm a little jealous because I wish there were that many resources when we were starting, you know?
Yeah. Like, you think you would progress faster today?
Ooh. I don't know. You know, sometimes having limited information and figuring it out for yourself is also important. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like that me hearing these runs and knowing enough information to be dangerous was more important than me getting all the information at the same time.
Yeah.
Does that make
it's
sense?
like hard to compare too, because like, I mean, back in those YouTube golden age days, kind of like everything felt kind of special, like every single video, you know?
Well, I love how we have our big gray beards on. It's like back in my day. Like, I
mean, it's just a few years ago, but like things move
right?
so fast online, you know?
For sure.
And nowadays it's like not as special anymore if there's like a new video. Like everybody's uploading stuff. Like maybe it would be different if we were a few years younger, but I don't know.
You know, it's interesting because like I feel like the overblow was a good example because that was like the new and up and coming technique that not a lot of people knew. And I feel like instead of being this giant mystery, everyone's rehashed it and put it online, and there's a million videos about it, that it doesn't feel like, it feels like a technique like everything else. You know, it doesn't feel like this upgrade as it, at least for my playing, because I went from playing like very much blues stuff to kind of being able to expand my palette a little bit, you know, and being able to do, I was in a jazz band for a while, so I used to learn standards, and for that, Overblows was needed. I couldn't get around it, you know?
Yeah, that's a question in the chat, right? Darius asks, do you play jazz?
Do you play jazz? I wouldn't say I'm a jazz player, but I have played jazz in the past. So I know I was part of, in high school, this is, okay, we're going to go back in time a little bit. I, as an 8th grader, the band director goes, we're there, like, I went to a private high school. And so, like, we, like, attended, like what's the word for it? Like an introduction, like kind of like a big, like home party or something like that. There's a name for it. I can't think of it. Anyway, he goes, I'm like, well, I really want to be in jazz band, but I play harmonica. And he goes, play for me. And so I played a little bit, and he goes, can you read a little bit? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, you're in. And he quit. And they had a new band director that came in. So me, a freshman in high school, I walked in. He goes, who are you? I'm like, oh, I'm Jared, and I play harmonica. And he goes, what am I going to do with a harmonica player in jazz band? I'm like, I don't know. You better figure it out. And so I would read the trombone music and listen to horns. Yes, very well, because it was in C. So it was the only instrument So it was not guitar, but it was at least something that I could read to get started. And he would kind of put me, he'd be like, okay, you're playing the saxophone line. Okay, you're playing this. Okay, you're playing that. And I just kind of learned all these standards through fire, basically, you know? So, and like early me trying to learn overblows and squealing. And that's when I kind of gravitate a little bit more towards chromatic. And I'm not a huge chromatic player, but I know I know enough to be dangerous. And that's the good part. I usually play chromatically on Diatonic, but it's a different sound, you know, it's a different feel, a vibe.
It definitely is. And I think in one of my recent videos, I said that just sometimes, that was actually about the country tuning. like, of course, you can play that major seventh in second position, but not in every style of music or in every melody. You want to get that sound from the overblow, kind of, you know?
Right. Well, and it's also like the chromatic. Like I did a Stevie Wonder concert. Someone called me and goes, I need a harmonica player for a Stevie Wonder concert. And I made very clear, I am not a chromatic harmonica player. I'm a diatonic harmonica player that can play chromatic, you know? And they didn't understand what that meant. I played that whole concert on diatonic harmonica, and it actually sounded really good.
Same, I did that before, yeah.
Did you? And I remember there's sometimes, and just because it can do it, should it? That's the question that I always kind of throw out, and especially as somebody that plays chromatically on a diatonic, should you? And there's sometimes that is not called for, and then there's sometimes it is called for. So like I did a Stevie Wonder video on TikTok, and I'm like, I'm gonna play chromatic on this. Because why not? I probably should, you know? So.
Yeah, like, or I remember me playing just the melody on the chromatic and then moving over to the diatonic for the solo, kind of, you know?
Yeah, one of the songs we did, Too High, and it has that harmonica panned like left and right, and it's two different harmonica solos. And I remember I did it for one of your challenges a while ago.
Oh, okay.
This was during like 2020, and I remember like it was a long time ago. And I like learned the intro, and the intro's like so cool. Goes, and it has this like super cool vibe to it. So during that concert, that's when I learned that intro, and it was just awesome. I'm so glad I was able to be a part of that. So, but yeah.
What's your chromatic harmonica of choice? Like which model?
So, okay, I have two. One, I don't even know if I have it with me. I might. Hold on. I don't have it with me. I have a Chromatica Deluxe. It looks like a Cadillac. I can never like pinpoint what exactly it looks like, but it's like fully chrome, and it has this like space agey look. Hohner made it in like the 50s and 60s, and that's my harmonica of choice. But recently, I have acquired some CX12s, and I've been playing those a lot. And as an engineering thing, like I love how you can just like pop it all apart. I know it can sometimes be like I'm worried about popping something because I've never owned one before, but they sound great. I love being able to get that full expressiveness off of it.
Yeah,
that's the one I'm leaning towards of choice. My new chromatic journey of rediscovering it again. You know,
they're really bendy. That's true.
They're very bendy. Not necessarily. Not what I was expecting, you know, because I came from chromatic and being a little bit more rigid, and I went to this one. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So
yeah, I feel like the only thing that sounds a little different where I would actually like pick another chromatic, like a regular one, like the harmonica, is like playing octaves, like because I feel like octave playing on the CX12, it just sounds kind of different. It's not that classical. Or the classic octave sound that you know from chromatic, you know, and sometimes you need that sound. I completely
agree with you. I completely agree with you on that. I think that there's some things that harmonica like does really well, but I think that when it comes to the vibe of like classical, like classic, what you think of chromatic harmonica, I think sometimes it's not 100% there, but it is amazing. It's an amazing, amazing harmonica.
Yeah, if you want to do the Stevie thing or just be more expressive, more dirty, single note playing,
it's up the alley. I completely get it, but like if you're doing like blue, like the blues, I like the big blues octaves, like the big,
same for
especially
that one,
like Dennis Grinling is a great example of that because the octave playing that he does is just so tasty. It's so nicely done. So yeah.
Another question by Richard Lynch. Has the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland influenced your interest in rock and blues?
Fun fact, I've only been to the Rock Hall once. I walk by it. My work is downtown Cleveland, and I walk to it every day. But I've only been inside one time. I met Dave Grohl, so that was cool, but that was the only one time I was in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't think so. I think the town has inspired me to be more of a rock and roll player. You know, Cleveland, Ohio in general has a really interesting vibe because it's between Chicago, New York, and it's like on that stretch of highway. And you have players that are hardcore blues players, but you also have a lot of rock and roll. In the 20s and 30s, it was very big band style, and that kind of bleeded in to what it is now. I think that when it comes to the town has an amazing music scene, and I'm very grateful that it does, because if I wasn't able to have that community of people, I don't necessarily know where I would be. Whether it was rock or blues or hip hop, or there's so many great music communities here. And I think that inspired me more than the Rock Hall,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a whirlwind answer, but.
How about diatonic instruments? Like, what's your favorite model there? And do you play out of box instruments, or do you set up things yourself a little?
Okay, so this is interesting. I love the Blues Harp MS. I don't know what it is about that harmonica.
Wow, yeah.
I know it's a very first choice for a lot of people. I think it comes down to feel. Wallace played them a lot, and he's like, "You need to play one of these. This is a professional harmonica." I'm like, "All right," and I got into it, and I think I got so comfortable with them as a harmonica that it just became my harmonica of choice. I recently have been leaning towards the Rocket amps. I like the closed covers. And I think that's a great harp as well. It could be a little bulky, but the sound you get out of those is just awesome. So good. But I've been playing I do a lot of my own customizing. So this is a blues harp. I don't know how well you'll see it, but it's a blues harp that has like a blue comb that I put in there, and I do a lot of my own reed gapping. And I feel like when you play a lot of these fast licks, or you do a lot of chromatic stuff on diatonic, you have to learn. You have to learn how to customize it, at least a little
Definitely,
bit.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you won't get it 100%. So.
But interesting, yeah. The Blues Harp MS actually was my very first instrument.
Was it?
Yeah. That's the one I started out with. And just a few days ago, Hohner sent me every single diatonic model they have. Because I'm going to record all of them for some audio samples or something. So, I tried all of them again. 2 days ago or something, and I was happily surprised about the Blues Harp MS.
It's a good harp.
It still felt good. Maybe it's because I started on it, but yeah, loved the feel, and I also like the Meisterklasse MS.
Oh my god! Well, so that's a funny story. So I bought one of those and I lost it at a spa, and Todd Parrott found it, and put it on bluesharmonica.com. Is like, hey, someone lost a harmonica. Does anyone know who it is? And no one responded, including me, because I didn't really know the community at that point. And so he kept it. So every single time I run into him or he sees a post with me, he goes, "Oh, enjoying my Meisterklasse MS harmonica. I wonder who it belongs to." I'm like, I want it back, but at the same time, it's been a while, so it's never gonna happen. I love the Meisterklasse MS though.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really cool to get and just a more recent overview of all the models. And I actually really loved the Marine Band Deluxe too.
Yeah.
And for some reason, but maybe it was that particular instrument, I liked it better than the crossover. I don't know why.
I think it's I don't know. I think it's the feel, It's the feel of the instrument. It really is like comparing apples to oranges, because some of those harmonicas they are different than each other, and some people might like this one or some people might like that one. And a good thing is just to experiment on them, I'm a huge fan, and I wish Hohner would bring it back, of the old standby. I love the really old standbys, because one, they play great. I think two, the covers are so cool. They have those stalagmites on top and the bottom. I think I have one. Do I have one? The sound of metal clanging in my harmonica case. There it is. So I got that one. It has these tings on the back, and and it sounds. It's a. Of course, it's blocked, but it has a great sound to it. So. Harmonica's been used and abused a lot, so.
Oh, let me check out the chat. Sometimes I forget. What else in there? Oh yeah, Dennis Grunling's chromatic playing, Marine Band Deluxe, crossover. I told you I've never been to Spa before, But
I know.
I suppose you've been several times, and also this year, right?
Yes. So this was.
Did you also teach at the event?
A little bit. I've done some teaching at the event. I used to work with, and I still do, like on my own time with the youth grant, the William Rosebush Youth Grant. So it helps. So what that does is it's 6 or so kids to SPA and to this harmonica organization, and it pays for their hotel and food and stuff like that. And the money that they raise from people going to SPA goes for the next one. So basically they pay it forward to the next group. And it's so cool because there's so many amazing players that I've seen that have come through there. And I was a recipient at one point. You know, that's how I was able to go to my first SPA, was they were able to pay for my first hotel from doing that. So I'm very grateful for at least having that community of people. You know, I think that SPA we're a unique bunch of people. You know, harmonica players are a very unique bunch of people, and it's nice to see all the crazies in the best way. I'm going to make this very clear, in the same hotel together and just kind of vibing and feeling it's just nice to be able to meet people with like mind. You know,
definitely is. Yeah, and feels kind of strange too, like meeting some of your heroes. You know.
I remember, what was it? My first SPA. I remember seeing Buddy Green, and I don't know why. Buddy Green was the one that I was like, "Oh my god, that's Buddy Green!" And I like literally like my hands were shaking. I'm like,
because
who
he
got
the biggest harmonica video on YouTube.
Well, right, and I think I like messaged him at one point on an email, and he emailed me back saying thank you, and I'm like, "Oh my god, that's him in person!" Oh my god, so
right, yeah.
And you're supposed to perform, so like as a youth, like. You're performing to all these people, and I had a lot of performing under my belt, but like I like walked around the audience while playing like as like a stage trick. And I remember I'm looking out, I'm like, I stole a lick from you, I stole a lick from you, I play harmonica exactly like you. And I remember just being like, oh my god, I need to turn around and go back on that stage. So it's an overwhelming experience in like the best way possible. It's drinking from the fire hose, so to say.
Yeah. So, how about like young players coming up? Like, what do you see as the future of the harmonica? What role do you think believe young players play in the development? Like, what's there to discover? Which direction are we heading?
You know, I've been seeing a lot of people like take harmonica. I think harmonica has been pigeonholed in the blues, which is amazing. Blues harmonica is such an amazing like form of music. However, I think it's limited the instrument a little bit. I think that now it's getting to the point that people are trying other ways in order to like kind of push it forward. And I've been seeing a lot of chromatic players in general and some diatonic players do like a lot of anime stuff. There's a lot of really amazing harmonica coming out of Japan right now that is being used in scores and anime intros, and like Cowboy Bebop is a great example. I know it's a little dated now, but Persona, like the video game Persona, has harmonica in it. And I think there's a lot of really good Japanese harmonica players that are coming out that are making incredible music. Mm-hmm. And I think that is the direction I see it going. And I still think a lot of people here, at least in the US, are really looking for rack playing with country. I think country is a very underrated example of where harmonica can really come out, and it hasn't yet.
Man, I'm always thinking about that because I'm listening to whatever Spotify hot country playlist, checking out all their music, and like harmonica would be perfect for all of them almost, you know.
Well, and I know,
and there's like so little harmonica in there. It's crazy. I think this most recent, was it Shawn Mendes?
Yes.
Put out like a single, but it was like there was another track on there. There was some harmonica on there. Mm-hmm. But there's like so few songs out there.
And Hosier is doing some harmonica with Thor, and he's insane. Ross Guerin is doing a lot of stuff in like the film world, which is really cool. I'm trying to think of like modern stuff. I mean, and you have some incredible players in Nashville where that scene is. Like Ilya Portnoy, I think, has moved down there now, and he is incredible. So there's a lot of really good players, and I have a feeling it's on the brink of adding them to the roster, because with people like Isaac Corbett and people online in general that are pushing it forward, me, I think that it's making this weird resurgence, which I never really thought as like a person growing up with harmonica that it was going to be like the cool instrument. I thought it was going to be kind of like I was the last generation of doing it. I always kind of looked at it that way, and I'm so glad to see it evolving into something that's completely new. It's so cool to see.
Yeah. And then I'm also thinking about these, but that's not recent anymore, like these Shania Twain songs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
With some high G harmonica solos or something, like beautiful.
I love that. Well, and I think Ross was also on the Cowboy Carter record for Beyonce as well.
Oh, true.
Which is considered country. And I think it's considered country.
Yeah.
It's pop country, but it's still country, So, and Flow Rider and stuff like that. But there's like a lot of variables that it could be put into that it hasn't yet. And I think it's really interesting. And outlaw country here in the United States is coming back in like full swing. So it's interesting to see where it's going to go.
Yeah, true. And yeah, I think there's going to be like so much more stuff like combining country with other music styles. And I think there are like big labels in the US right now pushing collaborations, like between African musicians and country musicians and stuff like that.
Well, and like all the rock that's coming out of Africa right now is insane. It's so good. Every Abdul Mokhtar, I think, is the band, and they are incredible. And there's so much like Saharan blues that is happening right now that it's beautiful, and it's so cool because it's not bending, it's sliding, but it's still conveying the same message, which I think is awesome. I just want to say Sam Coons is in the chat, who also plays really good like diatonic, like chromatic diatonic stuff.
Okay.
And he said you scholars make us feel so welcome at Spa. I just want to say like all the scholars are so cool. Like every single one I meet is just awesome. So the younger generation has a really cool group of people. So it's just interesting. It's interesting to see.
Yeah. And Shane is in the chat. Nice.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I think that's also a thing. There will be more and more younger harmonica players playing both diatonic and chromatic, and both on a super high level.
Yeah. Well, and I also think it's important.
I think that's what the younger player is going to do, because I see like Shane is playing diatonic and chromatic. I'm playing a little more chromatic sometimes now. I mean, it's a hobby, but
you did a video recently that blew my mind. Like, I don't know what it was. It was, I think the comment was, I recorded this at 32 degrees C, and I remember that you were playing,
there was some Arabic thing.
That was amazing. I have to say that I watched it like 12 times in a row. I was like, there was some trills that you were doing that was just absolutely beautiful. And I was like, this is crazy. I'm like, this is so cool.
But like, you know what the thing with that one was? I recorded it beforehand, which I almost always do just so I can focus on the video. And some of the trills were like whole step trills. So like I actually edited them. I played like a half step trill.
Oh, did you?
And then I put it up a half step, because like that's the way it has to be with that music. Like if it's being played on the recording, like you got to do it, otherwise it just sounds wrong, like a mistake.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, absolutely. I completely agree with that.
Yeah, that's what's happening there. And
it was so cool, man.
It's just like great. A beautiful thing about Arabic pop music. After every chorus, usually there's like an instrumental part. Like after 1 minute, 15, whatever, there's like a complete instrumental section. Like, and they're always melodies only. And I feel like that's not the case in any other type of pop music out there.
No, and I agree with you. I had a lot of friends that when I was going to college from Dubai, and I would listen to the music with them, and it was so cool to see. Well, and it's the scales, and I learned this. We were talking about me playing with a bouzouki player. When I was in college, there's a bouzouki player that I played with, and he recently moved to Greece. And I learned so many weird like scales that aren't like the modern scales you use here. And
nice. Can you show the audience a weird scale?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I've been like, well, I do a lot of like harmonic minor stuff, which isn't like really like. But I don't remember what was the scale that he would use. I can't remember, but like it was so fun to play with him because it was just such a different vibe than what I was used to. You know, I just had so much fun just doing something that was unknown. You don't grow in your comfort zone, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, I love all the comments. This is so cool.
Which Diatonic brand is your favorite? We talked about your favorite Diatonic, right?
Yeah.
Do you customize harps yourself? Yes.
Yes,
we do.
A lot. Again, best thing you can do for yourself if you're trying to learn overblows is learn how to set up your harmonicas for overblows. I 100% agree on that. My poor dad. So my dad rides Harley Davidson motorcycles, and I would ride on the back with him. And I remember I would like learn overblows, and he was deaf, so it was the best like from all the years of riding. So I would like play overblows on the back of the bike to myself. And I remember it was he who squeak, he who squeak, because I would like do the bend down and I would try to breathe out and it wouldn't work. And I remember like I did that for months, and my poor parents, I felt so bad. He who squeak for like literally months, and I eventually got it. And I remember it was like on like a G. It was like a harmonica that it shouldn't work on, and it just popped, and I was like, oh my god, I got it. And then I was able to kind of understand that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it too. Like my family, like listening to all my practicing back then. It's crazy.
Oh no!
Some of that stuff must have sounded terrible, you know.
Well, and especially when you're first starting out. Like I remember Jason uploaded a video of him playing with the jazz band, and he was like 16. Oh, yeah. And I remember it's just like he goes, "This is where you come from. This is what you got to remember is that everyone comes from somewhere, and the people that are around you during that time are saints, because they could tell you like, put that thing away. I can't hear it anymore." And I will admit, my mom did that a couple of times, and like I understand now. Like it's a lot. But also at the same time, I'm very lucky that I had people that were willing to listen to He Who Squeak for at least like a few years before I finally got
at that point. At that point, it was also like so much about like the techniques and stuff. Like every single time I kind of wanted to play in front of friends or whatever, it was me starting with like a huge introduction of me being like, oh yeah, and then in bar 5, I'm gonna play this overblow, which is super hard, and it's actually like not actually possible. It's like a super unique technique and stuff.
I don't know about you, but I remember like when I was like learning, and you can listen to my videos and you can tell what technique I was on because it was the one that came out the most. So like the one I was learning overblows, that was the one that was like always in like every single run. Or like when I was learning like warbling, like that was like the technique that was like in every single one. It was just interesting to see how my playing progressed, because I would learn techniques and then learn songs around those techniques. And that's why I tell students, you know, if you, like Funky Thing was a good example, you know, there's only one overblow and you can go up and down the harmonica and it's only one overblow in the song. So
do you switch to lip pursing to play that overblow, or can you do that tongue block?
I could do it both.
Yeah.
I learned it lip pursed. And I remember at Spa, everyone's like, Dennis does it. Dennis does it with like just doing it tongue blocked. I'm like, okay, I'll learn it. Yeah, and it was a challenge, and I learned it that week. And I don't use it often, but every now and again I use it, and it comes in handy. So it depends on the feel. Like, you know, it depends on like what song I'm learning, and maybe it lays out easier and is just easier to do. You know.
How about your practice routine nowadays?
I wish I practiced more, and it's funny because it's like the there's these YouTubers that are like, I can't remember their name, but it's like the Ling Ling group, or like they play violin. They're 2 violin players and they do memes and stuff online. Yeah. And I remember the joke is more practice, and I think that it applies to me too. I wish I had more time to practice, but it's a lot. I think me learning these rock songs has been an insane amount of practice, because it's me learning techniques that I didn't know I could do, and I think that's the practice, you know.
Okay.
What about you?
Nowadays, that's interesting. Yeah, it's like an up and down kind of thing. It's like sometimes obviously getting ready for concerts, especially if it's like a classical thing.
Oh, sure.
And like
I can only
then
imagine.
like learning pieces in that style. I mean, you're not allowed to make mistakes there, right?
No, like
I mean, I saw
ruler
this
on
video,
fingers.
this reel on Instagram where they are like, oh yeah, music is basically like the only job out there where you're supposed to not make any mistakes, you know? And in every other job, it's fine to get everything like 90% right.
Right. No, for sure. But when you're playing a classical concert with a ton of other people watching you and also the musicians and a conductor, I can only imagine how much stress that is. So I give you a lot of credit.
So that's
not
some
easy.
practice, and otherwise maybe some chromatic playing, but then it's just some for fun. But it is a lot of practice, you know? It's just like listening to something and I'm like, oh yeah, I love that. I love to listen to a few chromatic players out there too and just try to play what they do, you know?
Yeah. And I think that it's interesting because you understand this from a classical level, and I don't know how often it is, so correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the songs that I'm doing on harmonica when it comes to the rock stuff, no one's really done. So I'm kind of in this like weird realm that I have to interpret it on my own and like, okay, what does it lay out for harmonica? What does it lay out for this? I remember one of the more popular videos I did Thunderstruck by AC/DC. And I remember learning it, and I remember being like at like 30% speed, and I'm like, how am I going to get this? There's no way I'm going to be able to do this. And like over time, like over like the course of a week, I got faster and faster and faster with it. And I like reached this bubble. I'm like, oh my God, I can actually do this. And you gotta have to like test yourself in order to make sure that it sounds the way it should. Not necessarily like a harmonica, but the way it should be, how the music should sound.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Then I'm also like sometimes adjusting the melody maybe a little if it's on the diatonic. Or sometimes it's just like, I should play this on the chromatic.
Well, right, exactly.
I mean, this happens now, and like even listening to some videos on YouTube right now, I mean, this sounds probably weird, but some of these players are good, you know, but they play like a major scale in the key of C, like major melody, just the natural notes on the instrument. And then like I'm already complaining in my mind about the intonation. Because I mean, obviously the instrument isn't tuned perfectly. Like none of the out-of-box instruments are.
Right.
And to make stuff, even in the key of the instrument, sound right, you gotta do some adjustments, you know? Yes. And there are many players out there not doing that.
Yes. Well, it's funny. So my final check on my videos is my wife. So my wife will come in and she'll listen to my videos and she goes, that's flat. I'm like, no, it's not. And then she goes, yes, it is. Do it again. I'm like, God, I'm like, darn. So I did. There's a new musical coming out called Epic. It's this guy on YouTube, TikTok, that's been making these incredible musicals about like the Odyssey, like the story to the Iliad and the Odyssey. And it's beautiful. And some of the harmonies in it are insane. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do that. And I did it. And I realized how out of tune my harmonica was once I actually like started. I'm like, well, there goes 8 hours of my time getting this back up to making it sound good. So, I can understand the circumstances of wanting to use chromatic for some of these things. I always look at it as like this massive challenge for me, you know? So, but the intonation is very difficult, especially when you're doing an overblow section and you have to make sure those overblows are always in tune. Otherwise, it sounds like poop, and you can't have that.
Yeah, and then also in classical, depending on how the orchestra is tuned and stuff, and how the piano is tuned, you know, like I should really have my instruments tuned again. It's just like hard to get rid of them for that while, you know.
No, I know. Well, and
so I should basically learn to do that myself.
It's not easy, and it was funny. I was watching Elijah on an interview with you, and he made a great analogy that was like a curled up shrimp. You're a curled up shrimp holding your harmonica like this, trying to like make sure everything is in tune. He goes, and your back hurts after 8 hours of doing that. Like as soon as he said that, it put a lot in perspective. And I was like, oh yeah, I know that. I know that motion very well. The curled up shrimp. So Hopefully I don't have a hump when I'm 80, but we'll see.
Shane asks, when did you make the transition from playing more traditional blues to all the awesome metal stuff you play now?
Oh, interesting. So COVID is a great example because I was getting really tired. I was doing a lot of blues gigs here in the area, and I was burnt out. I was like, I need a break. I need to like take some time. And literally, I said that like February of 2020. And then March of 2020, everyone was in lockdown. I'm like, well, that was a good time to take a break. So I started doing these challenges and started like kind of challenging myself and learning some stuff. And it kind of started, and I'm going to shout out you, Konstantin, because you started doing all these challenges during COVID. And I'm like, okay, I could do that. So I would do the challenge, and I would do another challenge, and I would do all these little things, and it added up. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to learn all these rock songs that I like. And I started pushing them out, and it was so much fun. And I had so much fun learning all these things. And that's really where it came from. Kind of the trickle down of me learning all these weird rock songs was me being really bored and having absolutely nothing to do. So that was the happy thing that came out of me being in isolation for a couple of years.
Right, I see. How about some music that you're listening to nowadays? Like,
Ooh.
Do you still listen to harmonica music at all? Or is it other stuff?
You know, it's interesting. Oh my God, what's his name? It's like avant-garde, like harmonica music, and I can never. Octavio Castro. He's like, I think if there's any harmonica artist, I'm listening to him because it's just so out there. It's so wild, the stuff that he does. But when it comes to music, my music taste is like completely changed, and I'm listening to like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizards. They're Australian rock
I heard
band.
about them, yeah.
They have a harmonica player. He's not amazing, but what they're doing, I mean, they're playing in 7/4 and doing weird timings, and with harmonica, and I don't think it's really common. So it's really cool to see all these younger players learning from them initially. And I have a lot of people that are coming to me off of that, and I think they're incredible. I think when it comes to their music, they're awesome. So I've been listening to them and a bunch of like really interesting indie rock bands, and that's been the stuff that I've been listening to recently. So, yeah.
I've never listened to them, but I read the name before, and I didn't know that they had some harmonica in there.
It's a name that you can never forget.
Yeah.
It's a name you can never forget. Once you hear that, you're like, yeah, I'm going to check them out. And it's cool because all the stuff they do, like all their merch is like bootleg merch. Like their fans make the merch, and they get a portion of the sales when they sell it on their website. And it's really, really cool. So they have like a very interesting model when it comes to being a band. And in the United States, at least, they're really popular. So, and they're a lot of fun to watch. So, again, I would check them out. That would be my recommendation. Non-harmonica wise.
Nice. And yeah, talking about Octavio Castro, we definitely had him on here on the Hohner Live. And if any of you out there didn't check that out yet, you should. Because he gives like a very interesting explanation of how he thinks about the structure and the layout of the instrument. And I feel like it's very different from everything else I've heard to that point. So
it's very much an illegal of all its own. It really is.
Ryan asks, what scales do you use for the rock stuff?
Depends.
Many.
It depends. So when it comes to me doing these harmonica adaptations of rock songs, you kind of have to play with what position works best for the rock songs. So I have been leaning a lot towards third and fourth. That's usually what I've been going with because it lays out very well, especially for like the blues licks. So like if I'm doing, what was the song I did? So earlier I played Hysteria by Muse. That was the song I played. And that's in fifth. And it made sense. It took me like weeks in order to understand that. But there are some songs that I've had to really sit down and understand, okay, what type of harmonica do I need? What scale is it? And how does it feel? I think that's the more important thing is if I'm playing a harmonica and it sounds decent, is there another position that works better that might be low tuned or melodic minor, or like where does it go? You know, so I've had many times I've had to like dissect that, and it's very interesting to see it from that perspective. So that's again, I give runaround answers, so hopefully that made sense.
But yeah, I mean, obviously there are many scales that are coming to play, but these positions are really good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got like a country-tuned harmonica, sixth position gets very interesting, you know?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I remember being at a jam, and I only had like a C harmonica with me, and there was like, I don't know, I had to leave for some reason, but I had to join on that song if I wanted to join. So I just gave it a shot and played in sixth position, you know?
Sometimes this is a fun game to play. I love like grabbing like a random harmonica out of my bag and then playing songs on the way to work or on my way to somewhere. And just like, okay, what can I play with this one harmonica? And
That's really good.
I might be in like 10th, and it's like, why am I playing this? It's like, all right, I'm just gonna keep going. And sometimes you flip through your songs and it's second, and you're like, thank God. But sometimes it's not that. Most of the time, it's not that. It depends on what harmonica you pick up out of your case before you leave the house.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. I call it like the C harmonica game, taking a C harmonica everywhere and just hoping that you're landing in the right way. And if you don't, that's just what you get.
Yeah. Do you carry a harmonica everywhere you go?
Yeah. I have holes in my jeans because I keep carrying my harmonicas in my jeans without a case. And there's many holes in my jeans from carrying way too many harmonicas. So...
Yeah, I should get back into that. It would be cool to carry a harmonica around all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point I stopped for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, I used to carry one around all the time. So if I forget it, sometimes I keep one in my car. So if I go on a road trip or if I go on something, I at least have one. So it's something that doesn't leave my house. Or if I go through like airport security, I'm like, oh, I got a harmonica in my pocket and I have to like put it in my bag and stuff like that. So...
Yeah, but then also without the case, sometimes not the best idea.
Well, and like how often?
I mean, I think like these cases are the best to carry around.
I love those cases. I use them for like USB drives. I put my USB drives in the cases because I lose those more often than I lose my harmonicas. So, or at least in a place that I know. So. Just looking at all the chat.
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. James, do you ever use minor or special tuned harmonicas like Paddy Richter?
So sometimes it depends on the thing. I did like a Star Wars thing, and again, it depends on the feel of the song. But in here, I think so. Yes, there it is. So I get laid out really nicely on that harmonica. So I'm like, you know what? That will be the one I use. So it depends. Again, it depends on the feel. When it usually is live gigs, I don't use them all that often. I was in a Jay Giles band, cover band for a while. And I remember that there was one song. I'm like, why does it sound so weird when I do it, but it sounds so good when he does it? And I realized that he used to do like a version of minor. Like he used to tune his harmonicas a certain way, and it was a melodic minor harp. And I was like, no way, or a natural minor. And I would use that harmonica, and it worked every single time. It was great. It was so much fun. So I love playing them. I just don't play them enough.
Yeah, same. Like only 2 days ago, I played the minor tuned harmonica for the very first time.
Oh, how was that?
I never did that before, because it's just that regular marine band, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I immediately started to beatbox. That's like the first thing you want to do playing a minor tuned harmonica.
No, right. You just want to go. You just want to like break out.
Oh yeah, I should check out that rhythm. Can you teach that to the audience?
Yeah. So
Which key minor tuned harmonica do you have there?
I think this is A minor.
Okay. Oh, I got an A
It's
here.
G minor.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. It's G minor. Sorry, Konstantin.
Okay, I only got the A, but
No, it's okay. So, but like, so what I'm doing is I'm kind of putting my lip on the front of the harmonica, and then I'm kind of expelling the air either through the bottom or the sides. So I'm kind of curling my lip and pushing out through the sides, and then going. So, and I'm pushing the air through the bottom. So I'm kind of doing this like weird rhythm of in the harmonica, air out through the sides in the rhythm, in through the harmonica, air going out the bottom, and it kind of like repeats over and over again. And eventually it's just learning the pattern. Once you learn the pattern and understand how it goes,
yeah.
then it can kind of make sense. You can go and you can kind of change it up a little bit. So I'm not the greatest harmonica beatboxer.
Yeah, me neither. Not at all, but
I am no Brandon Bailey. I am no Isaac Corbett. I am no... What's the guy that plays the Lee Oscar ones? He's also another good one.
Oh, yeah. The Italian guy.
Federico? Is that his name?
Could be true, yeah.
I think that's right. So, but they are like experts, and I am an enthusiast. I think that's the best word for it.
But I'm going to listen to that rhythm again. I want to do that one too, yeah.
Yeah, that one's Boots and Cats. That's a good first start to do, and I love playing it again. And you break it out, and people are not expecting it, and that's like the best thing. It's like my little party trick, and like with people that don't know harmonica, and I break that out, they're like, "Oh my god!" So it's like really fun.
Yeah. Oh, I also saw some videos on Instagram a few months ago. There's a Russian guy doing a lot of harmonica beatboxing. He plays other instruments too, and he goes out on the streets and does the beatbox thing. And
awesome.
Went kind of viral with some of the videos, but nobody knows him as a harmonica player. But he sounds really good.
Right, but they know him as a beatboxer and uses harmonica.
They know
to
him
his
as
advantage.
a straight
Enigma.
musician, whatever guy, you know.
Gotcha.
But yeah, for that stuff, it kind of makes sense to work some more on the beatbox stuff.
Right, and it makes you want to play chromatical, minor more. You know.
Yeah. So you tried the pentaharp?
I did. I have one. Here, listen to me dig through my case one more time. I had one in my case. Is that on the table? Ah, there's the box. I played it not too long ago. Hold on. Is this it? Oh, it's in here. Cool. No, it's not. I lied. I did play the pentaharp. I did a video online not too long ago of it. It's a very funky harmonica. I didn't know what to expect when I got it. But you can do some especially if you do harmonica runs that are just breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. And if you just take 4 holes and breathe out and breathe in really fast between those 4 holes, it's really cool. There are some really cool things that you can do, really cool guitar lines that you can do through that. So I always really liked trying to learn weird things on the pentaharp. I tried it out a little bit. I really liked it.
Yeah. But also, I feel like it sounds way better playing it in the key of the draw chord.
Yes, I agreed with that too. And it's funny because I'm like, this is wrong. This is wrong. Yeah. I shouldn't play it this way. But it works out so well. I'm glad that you said that because I was like, I played it. I'm like, ooh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the actual blues sound. Let me find my pentaharp.
I know. Well, while you're looking, I'm gonna look. Wait, there it is. Got it. What key is that?
An A.
Oh! Mine is too.
Yeah. And playing in the key of the one-hole draw, basically, you know? Playing in C minor.
Yeah.
It's like way more bluesy.
Yeah. Let's try this, Konstantin, because I know we tried it when we were starting on...
Sounds like... Exactly.
you can do some really, really cool stuff with that.
Yeah, and it almost sounds like a well-wired tuned harp because you got all the drawbands, you know?
Right. I used to like, so someone gave me all these Lee Oscar harmonicas, and I remember like he goes, they don't work anymore. I need you to. He goes, and like not like one, like 200 Lee Oscar harmonicas. And I remember he goes, do whatever you want with them. I'm like, all right. So I remember I took 2 blow plates and I put them together, and I remember I created a harmonica that was low bend all the way up and all the way down the harmonica, but it couldn't draw in. It couldn't draw bend at all. And it was the weirdest, coolest configuration. It kind of like makes you, it's like having a different guitar tuning, like an open D or something like that. So I love kind of experimenting with it. I just don't do it all that often, you know?
Right. Adam asks, do you have a favorite teaching memory or experience?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I was very lucky when I first met Jason. He was doing the Harmonica Collective here in the United States when he was in Indianapolis, and one of the guests was Magic Dick from Jay Giles. And I remember he didn't teach any harmonica like whatsoever, you know. But I probably learned more one-liner experience things from him. Like I said earlier, you don't go out in your comfort zone. That is ripped off from him, like 100%, because he was always talking about how he was only playing a year when he started doing that music, which is mind-blowing when you really think about how complex that is. And he was only playing a year. That it was really, and with not the resources of the internet and just listening to records, and it was incredible. And I think I learned a lot of like weird little one-liners from him. There was one, he's like, I'm going to string together every cuss word I could possibly think of into one sentence. And I don't remember what the context was, but I do remember that he said that. So I think when it came to teaching experiences and watching Jason Ritchie run around a room like a crazed ferret trying to like teach, and he is awesome. That's another awesome, interesting teacher.
Okay, yeah.
So I think those are my 2 teaching. Wait, was that a teaching memory for me, or was that a teaching memory of me teaching another person?
Because that's
a different.
Yeah.
What about you, Konstantin?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I don't know. Being taught myself, I mean, one of the earlier experiences was just like hanging out at the Hohner booth at the music fair in Frankfurt in 2011, I think. And that was probably a year after I introduced myself to Hohner. So I was hanging out at the booth, and there was a picture of me already, and there was Steve, and they introduced the Thunderbird, and we had like a challenge going on, like who could play the lowest band, and Howard Levy was there also, and he gave me and another chromatic player a little lesson right there on the spot, talking about some diminished scale patterns, and I didn't understand anything.
That's fair. That's fair.
So there was like...
Go ahead.
Yeah, just too complex at that point for me, you know? But it was kind of cool, and like definitely showed me that there's more work to be done, you know?
Always. I remember there was like a challenge, and it's like apply to get a year free of Howard Levy's class on blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you know what? I'll throw my email in. What the hell? What's the worst that can happen? And I was walking around campus, and I vividly remember this. I remember I like got a phone call, and I went, and this lady goes, "Is this Jared?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "You want a year subscription to Howard Levy's School of Music?" I'm like,
okay.
No way. I want. I'm like, I don't want.
I didn't know you've been part of the online school.
A little bit. I had a year lesson with like the Howard Levy School. I didn't upload anything. I was too afraid because that was when Ronan Singal was really big, and I would watch his videos, and this is when he was first starting out. And I remember I was like, and I'm like, I'm not going to embarrass myself by throwing my videos up there because his videos were awesome at the time. But the information I got from that school was insane. Like every lesson was like something I've never heard of before. And I'm like, you know what? I know the advanced concepts. I'm going to go to the advanced category. And I was like, oh, this is like really advanced stuff. I'm like, all right, maybe I'll come back to this. So it was a lot of fun. I was very lucky to be a part of it for a hot minute. So especially being a poor kid in college, it was nice to have a free subscription.
Yeah. I've definitely been part of that for a few years and uploaded my very first steps in jazz on there, you know?
Really? I was so afraid.
I wish I could log in again and just check them out, these old video exchanges.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I can only imagine how cool that is.
I'm going to ask Howard again. Because that's some cool material, I think.
Yeah, no, they had great material. I don't even know if like the class is still available, but I know that like I remember really getting some insane, serious information out of those classes. I remember there was a chromatic exercise that he had that was like it was going up and down the scales, like two steps forward, one step back kind of thing. And I remember it started from like 4 blow, and then it made its way to 4 draw, and then 4 draw bend, then 4 draw, then it was 4 draw bend, 4 draw, 4 overblow, and it went all the way up, and it did this like weird staircase thing. And I remember that was the one I did a lot of studying. Yeah, that one.
It's actually harder to do it, or haven't really played it ascending recently. It's way easier descending. You know?
I know. I need to pick it back up again. I wish I had the lesson to look at it again.
That's a good one.
that's a great one.
And you can hear him play that one quite a few times in the solos.
Yes, that's why I love it so much, because it's like such a glimpse into Howard's playing as a person, and like because he uses that technique all over again. That's like Charlie Musselwhite has a lick that's in first, and it goes. Wait. And it's like such a cool, small, very quick first position lick, but it ties everything together a little bit. Because first position playing, especially for blues, is like very Jimmy Reed stuff. So like it's very cool to see him kind of travel from the middle of the harmonica up to the top, and not a lot of people do that well first. At least in my opinion.
That's true. Yeah, nice. So what else do you have coming up, and what's the best place for people to check out some of your stuff? I mean, I put some links in the description box.
Ooh, cool. I do a lot of stuff on TikTok. I keep uploading different rock solos. I did Life is a Highway recently, which was such a fun, weird song that I was not expecting to have a good time on. I do that. I've been doing gigs with a woman named Christine Jackson. She is really big in the Cleveland area. I'm going to be doing some stuff at Brown Stadium coming up, hopefully sometime soon, which is the American football field here. And yeah, I've been doing some stuff around town and doing some stuff online. So check me out on TikTok. That's the big platform that I'm on right now. And Instagram.
Nice. Yeah. I got to work on my TikTok game.
It's hard, man. It's a really weird little world. It's funny because like the videos that I don't expect to do well are the videos that do well.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So next up in 2 weeks, we got another Hohner Live, everybody, with Olivier van der Bouwwede. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's from Belgium, and he's a great diatonic and chromatic player. He's been part of the challenges too, quite a few times.
Has he?
That's and
great.
He did some really good stuff. He has a great tone. And next up is a Christmas challenge. We're going to play some Christmas songs on November 24th. What's your favorite Christmas song to play on the harmonica?
Mine? Oh God. I don't know. I like Oh Holy Night. I think that's a good one. Because I think you can do some like really cool like octave splits on that. And I think for me, that's like really cool. I like doing a lot of big octave splits.
Oh, yeah.
What's yours? You have one from the album that sticks out?
From the album, we played Snowman by Sia, which is a beautiful piece.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And I like playing Jingle Bell Rock. Like 12th position, like sweet bluesiness.
That's cool.
What else? Oh, actually, we recorded something like... what was that again? No, but I did some chromatic recordings, too. on 2 songs. Played some chromatic.
Awesome.
And that was actually a lot of fun. Because the chromatic just sounds so good being recorded in studio, you know?
Oh yeah, it's well, especially with like the professional condenser mics or the tube microphones or like what you hear. It's just so cool to hear that with that warm tone of the
and obviously
studio
Jingle
stuff.
Bells.
Oh yeah,
Howard's
that one.
arrangement, you know?
Yeah, anyone that hasn't seen that needs to check that out. That is like a classic. That is such a great video in general, and everyone now needs to see yours version, Konstantin.
Oh yeah. It will be out soon, and I guess we gotta record a video for that too. Yeah, and I still gotta practice some of these phrases.
For sure.
But obviously, like, I can practice them, but I believe Howard improvises the whole thing on the video, you know?
No, I know, and like you can like it's like he's professionally winking at you. That's what it always feels like when I watch that video because he's playing it so well, and it just feels like a big giant harmonica wink, and it's just hilarious to watch.
Yeah, because I did a little video on my Patreon trying to practice these phrases, and I ended up like practicing these straight phrases just swung and the other way around, and then I could speed it back up, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
There was one phrase.
Oh,
and it's like super fast,
that.
you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I just started out swinging it and doing it the other way around, which is a little weird, but then it's like easy to get it back up to tempo again.
Yeah, for sure.
So I got to practice them a few times so I really get them right when we play this live, you know?
I know I love learning those licks and like just trying to get them over and over again. Then you like take a week off and you're like, oh my God, I don't remember how to do that lick anymore. And like you have to like really, really practice it.
And that one comes out of nowhere. Like starting out the melody, we're playing like this rubato thing in the beginning. And then it gets into tempo and it's just like a few notes of Jingle Bells and then that phrase. And
right. I know. It's like, what up. And you're just
exactly.
like, oh my God. Like, where do I even start?
So I just started like practicing it on the video. Really exaggerating it, you know? And then also doing it the other way around, which is weird, but really helps.
Right.
And then it's easy to play the straight thing.
I know everyone's like, how do you get it so fast? I'm like, you play it really slow and you work your way up and you keep going over and over and over again. You increment it a little bit and it helps out. It's the same thing with lifting weights.
And I was thinking, also thought of, while transcribing, I mean, I'm not sure he improvised that, you know? So
exactly.
I think this is what I heard, because like it's a little unclear in the end.
Yeah.
And I was... Because it does that weird thing going up to hold 6 again before landing on the target note, kind of.
There's an app I use called RipX that I've been using, and it shows the guitar solos and everything in MIDI. It shows it for you. Yeah. So if you're like really unclear about something, you can throw it through there. But I use it to remove guitar tracks and drums or bass, and I kind of use it as a tool. But every now and again, I'm like, I have no idea what this line is, and I'll just like pull it up in there, and that makes no sense at all. So, yeah.
Yeah. Nice. That's some stuff to practice.
Yeah, right.
So, everybody out there, see you in 2 weeks for another Hohner Live. Get ready for some Christmas songs. I'm looking forward to some submissions. And, yeah. Thank you, Jared, for joining us tonight.
Konstantin, thank you so much for having me. This is a ball. I'm like really grateful that you gave me a call. Thank you so much.
It was fun, everybody. Check out the description box. Check out Jared on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. You got all the links there. All of it. And yeah, ciao for now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
My lady, you know me, no give up on you never. Wanna be with you forever, 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 forever. Oh baby, where we they go? Now forward and far, backward never. Them they pray make we run down never, 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 never. I'ma get back, I know. Girl, you're the best I know. Our next move they never know. So you know, girl, I be feeling this love. Even when I'm down, you wanna waiting this up. It's not blessing, I'ma no be luck. Baby, nobody feel day like you. Rara, rara. I say nobody feel make me feel the way you do. Rara, rara. I'ma get that low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. Money go check low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. 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 My lady, you know me no forgive up on you never. Wanna be with you forever, 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 forever. Oh baby, where we they go? Now forward and far, backward never. Them they pray make we run down never, 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 never. I'ma get that low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. Money go check low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. They never know. They never know. Without you, baby, the journey go too rough. So you know, girl, I be feeling this love. Even when I'm down, you wanna waiting this up. It's not blessing, I'ma no be luck. Baby, nobody feel day like you. Rara, rara. I say nobody feel make me feel the way you do. Rara, rara. I'ma get that low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never